Welcome, everyone, to this week's podcast broadcast of This Week in Science. Welcome to another episode. We're so glad that you're here. Tonight, Blair's not here, and I am joined by the inimitable Brian Dunning. But we're going to have so much fun. Where is he? What? Who? It's like Bigfoot
Hello.
behind you.
Hello,
Did
everyone.
you actually see him?
I did move my Bigfoot. My Bigfoot is at my new house. I did move him with me from my old place to the old.
Well, I hope so. I mean, you got to bring your friends. You're going to make a move. Make sure your friends come. Make your friends. Make sure. Oh, test your mic. Thank you very much. This is why I need you all. So obviously, I had the wrong mic set up.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, webcam mic. That's not what we want.
Am I good? Where did you even hear that feedback? Did you see? Oh, you're on YouTube or something. I don't see that. Oh, now I don't hear you. You have to forgive her, everyone. She's new at this. She just learned about the internet last week. Someone showed her a meme. Oh my goodness. Didn't you used to run a radio station? She used to run the radio station at UC Davis in like 66?
Okay, is that better?
Yes, I can hear you
me now. Can you hear me in the back? I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah, so I did. I worked at a radio station. I've done this stuff for years, but sometimes you take all of your audio and video equipment to a conference to help out, and then you forget to put it all back together the right way. So then this is why we have the pre-show.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody. I had a mic. It just wasn't the best mic. So you all knew what you wanted to hear. Is that better? Much better. Hello.
Sound great on my end.
Thank
for
you
what
very
that's
much.
worth.
Are we 5 by 5? There we go. Snap. Okay, so this is the part of the show where we say, hey, we're going to make mistakes. Dun, dun, dun. And so I have an editor that will edit all of this lovely live video that's streaming right now into an edited podcast episode. So if you want none of this and all of that, make sure that you're subscribed to our podcast wherever you find podcasts, because otherwise you get stuff like this. You have to worry through it with us, me finding cables and plugging them in. But for everyone who's here right now, thank you for being here. And it is time for the show. Are we ready to go? Hit the likes, hit the subscribes, hit the shares. We'll make it happen. Yeah, good vibes. Thank you, Pepsi Cola. We like the good vibes. So, starting the show in 3, 2. This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 1053, recorded on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. To the moon, Artemis. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight on the show, we will fill your heads with some faster than light dark, Voorhees Law, and forced decisions. But first, hey everyone, I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight on the show, we have a lot to say. Disclaimer.
That's complicated legalese.
I know. It makes it all okay. It makes everything okay. You might be one who thought we'd never go back. You might be one who thought that never in your lifetime would human eyes see the side of the moon that we never see from here. You in your lifetime may never have thunk that politics and money and all of our priorities would take humankind back to the moon. And yet here we are. A rocket did not explode. Everything worked. Humans are on their way home. We've named a canyon, a crater, after a deceased wife. We have seen things and done things now that have not been done in some 50-odd years. We made a return at the same time that terrible, chaotic, destructive decisions are being made. It's not because those terrible, destructive decision makers are responsible. It's because of planning and foresight and all the people who came together to build something that would work, something for humankind. And if you want to talk about things like this, make sure you're here with us every week on This Week in Science. Coming up next. And then I have to scroll down and press the button and make it go.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science, Kiki.
And a good science to you too, Brian, and everyone else out there. Welcome to this episode of This Week in Science. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of all the science that we want to talk about. I mean, really, that's what This Week in Science is. It's a science conversation between us and you. We're here with curiosity, with commentary, with ideas. We want to talk about it. I'm so glad that you are here for this. Thank you for being here. Also on the show tonight, we're joined by the ever skeptical Brian Dunning.
I'm skeptical of that.
Are you? I'm not. You're here. You said yes. That's great. I mean, should I be skeptical?
Anecdotally, I appear to be here, but I could be AI or a special effect.
I mean, you could be, but we're not going to go there. It's just you. Anyway, Blair's out tonight. Hopefully she will be out soon. She has some family scheduling stuff to deal with, but that happens and we are moving along. Brian is picking up the science commentary baton. And normally you can find him hosting the Skeptoid podcast, traveling the world in search of skeptical adventures. But really, we can start out the show by asking you, Brian, what are you doing these days? What's going on in your world?
Well, I had a very, very interesting and unique week. You're talking about the Artemis mission.
Yes, Artemis II.
I am fortunate. I have sort of an inside track on that. Well, this is all public information, so I'm not telling anyone it's secret. But one of our board members at Skeptoid Media is a gentleman named Bill Wiseman. He's been a great board member. He's been a pretty good friend of mine, too, for a number of years now. And if you recognize that last name, Wiseman, it's because his brother, Reid Wiseman, is the commander of the Artemis II mission. And they have been in text message contact all week long. And the whole family's been down there at the Cape. And I was getting all these updates and everything from the launch and everything. And much of that was, I didn't talk to him and say, hey, can I talk about this? Can I share it? So I will say one thing, though. You mentioned the Crater Carol, the naming of Crater Carol.
Yes.
So that was a total secret. Nobody knew about that. The 4 astronauts planned that while they were in quarantine. You know, they still go into the little quarantine room for, I'm not sure exactly.
Private moments.
So they're in there so they don't get sick or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for the 4 or 5 days.
Especially if like a family member gets sick, it's like, well, I'm going to go to the quarantine and make sure it's all good.
So they apparently planned it in there. That was the first time they ever talked about it or planned it. And so when it came out on the radio, that was genuinely off the cuff and only loosely planned by the crew themselves. and nobody at NASA, nobody in the families, no one knew to expect that. So that was a very cool surprise, as much as for them as for all of us. So it's been really fun, getting these kind of insider track updates.
And even though it was something, I mean, the video, the broadcast that people
Yeah.
could watch of that passing along of the moon and the commentary that happened during that, and that it was an emotional moment for the crew members and for the people back at Mission Control. It was
Very
such
much.
a moment.
Very much. Oh, they all knew Carol and everything. I mean, this was this is a very genuine moment, and I have not seen the internet blow up over something since that happened. I don't think ever. I mean, every major internet personality posted that they were crying and watching it and
Yep.
everything. It was just a phenomenal thing for all of us to get to be a part of.
I mean, I don't think it would have been as big a moment if they'd named it after David Attenborough. Like, he's had a number of things named after him. So,
Trader Sagan, hey,
hey, good, that's nice. But yeah,
Trader.
there was just it was I think in addition to everything that happened to get them to the moment of launching, making it around the moon and getting there to that point where they'd gone past the backside, they lost transmission, which is normal because there's a certain point around the moon where we always lose transmission because the moon's in the way, everybody. And then to come back and to have this moment, it was such a human moment in the middle of so much other stuff that was going on.
So I was texting with my kids kind of live as all this is happening, and my son asks, "Hey, do they have internet? I read that they have iPhones up there." I said, "Oh, I have no idea." So I had to Google all that. So this morning, actually, I learned all about the network connection that they have on Artemis.
Yeah, I mean, do they have I mean, it's a special connection from the Earth to the moon, but can it be
Sort of.
Can it be cellular? Do they
It's not
text?
cellular, but it's not far from it, actually. So if you go online and read an article, you'll read that they have some laser system, which is
Yes.
basically like a fiber optic link, but just lasers through space. That is not being used for the astronaut communications and their videos and everything. That is basically in sort of test mode, and it's only being used for large file downloads from Artemis to Earth. And I hope it's well encrypted, because obviously anyone can just receive those. And as far as how are they talking to one another, they're just, do you know the NASA Deep Space Network?
Yep.
That's what they're using. They're just on that. And they're able to do email and text messages and I guess video chatting, all just using the NASA Deep Space Network.
And the Deep Space Network is wonderful because it is a collaboration that's international that allows it to work. So our allies in Australia and in South America and other places have receivers and transmitters that are part of the Deep Space Network, so that even while we in the Northern Hemisphere are potentially not in line with whatever we're talking to, we can get all those messages back and forth.
Yeah, I first learned about it when I was doing some work for my daughter with space telescopes.
Yeah.
Because all the space telescopes transmit through this Deep Space Network, and it all goes to the MAST repository in is it in Connecticut? Massachusetts? I think it's in Massachusetts.
I don't know.
And it just goes directly there, and it's in all these servers and everything. And
so Boston or
I think it's outside Boston, and I know I'm not quite right about that, but I'm geographically somewhat close.
I have things like Green Bank. I have like words in my head of places that I've heard of in sci-fi.
Okay. It's not in a fake sci-fi location.
No, I know, yeah. Oh, but
in a real place.
Yeah, but these systems that we've put together are essential to us being able to have as close to, I mean, it's not going to be real time because the further away they get, the longer the light has to travel, the longer the time takes. And so there's always going to be a bit of delay. You get a middle. We used to get upset about like that split second delay on Skype back in the
so
day.
I can actually address that. The latency is about 1.3 seconds when
To
they're
the
at their
moon.
farthest away. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what's reflected on their devices. It's not really any worse than that. And we're talking about the latency, like, you know, the initial time to make the connection. It's not like each packet or anything. But it's reasonably usable. And I think while I was talking to my son about this morning, he gets on his network at home. He says, "Oh, my latency is more than that." So he's using whatever, he's in Portland, so whatever he has for internet there.
Tell him he does not have the best internet. If that's his latency, his ping time is a little bit slow. He should not be using that for gaming. Oh my God. Everybody, though, this is Brian Dunning.
Yes.
Brian
Hi.
is doing all sorts of fun things. And we're going to do a science show. Do you want to talk about some other science stories?
We can
Other
try that.
things?
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone, if you're interested in This Week in Science, please check us out, all the places that you find your science.
I have a question for you.
Oh, what? What are you?
Am I being Blair or am I being Justin? Am I making like dumb?
Would you
snarky
like to be
comments?
both or either?
Well, depending on if I know anything at all about what we're talking about, I can decide.
I think that's fair. Like, pick what works for you in the moment. I think that's fair. Yes, Kevin Reardon. Science? What is that? What are we doing? And hello, Homeschool. Homeschool says they met Aaron Dunning in Davis 2017, not related to Brian Dunning, but
So,
has been in a relationship with Justin.
whoa. Wait a minute. I actually know I have a cousin named Brian Dunning, and he probably has a daughter about that age.
Okay,
I don't know the names of his kids.
Not
or
in
if they go to
Davis.
school in Davis.
No. Okay.
Why not?
Maybe, but that would
he
be
was-
really, really this after years of doing this and
He was in
knowing
the
Aaron
agriculture industry
and
in
her.
California. He might well have been in the Davis
No,
area.
I think I know who her dad is, but I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, well, I don't. So.
Okay,
Never mind.
this is later stories, but oh my gosh, the way the braid does weave, it is very interesting to conceive. And also saying there was a UFO skeptic documentary on Amazon Prime they saw about a week ago that you presented. And here you are again.
Yeah, that keeps popping up. It's it keeps getting like these resurges of popularity. Which is good because I actually make a tiny, minuscule amount of like a countable amount of cents in a month when that happens. So yeah, watch it again if you enjoy it.
Sorry, my headphones are not working in both ears, so I keep playing with them to see if I can actually hear you in both ears, and that is what I'm dealing with right now on my own right now. I'm just
Probably
trying
the
to
headphones are
troubleshoot.
fine.
It's
It's
not
just
working,
your
but if
ears
anything,
going
I
out
only hear
because
you
you're,
in one ear, and
you know.
that's okay. So, what is the name of that documentary?
That one is called The UFO Movie They
No.
Don't Want You to See. And
Yeah.
it has got a silly title, obviously, which sounds conspiratorial. And I said, dudes, I'm sorry, there's no way we're going to call it that. And nevertheless, it kept winning all the focus groups. And eventually I decided, okay,
Well
it's
done.
the title everyone's talking about. And it's the title we all remember. And those are things you can't buy. So I went ahead and called it that, even though it's not really very descriptive. What it does is it takes it's advertised as if it's just another UFO movie. And there's a billion UFO movies on Prime and cable and everything.
Most
And
of them I will not watch unless
you
they
shouldn't.
are something funny.
They're mostly just retelling the same old BS UFO tales. And so ours looks like that. And that was a really, really good marketing decision because it's not that at all. And we get a lot of people to watch it who might not otherwise watch it. In fact, this was the subject of my talk at SciTalk 2026.
It was, yes.
What, a week ago?
And
Something like that?
people really appreciated it. I saw a lot of people reacting very positively to your
good.
presentation.
Do I get a commission on that?
No, but just a well done. Good job, Brian.
Yay.
That's great.
Anyway, it uses the public interest in UFOs as a springboard to rope them in and then teach them real astronomy, real astrophysics, real exobiology. And no matter what your viewpoint is on UFOs and aliens and visitation and all that, the hope is that watching this film will make your views better informed with good science. So whoever you are, I think the movie will do you good and you should enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I appreciate it. And I like the way that you sandwich everything in so that it's tells a story and then it says, this is what we've heard. Look at all this stuff. And then what about the science?
And I almost died of hypothermia during shooting.
Oh my gosh, that is the story. I think, yeah.
You've heard that before.
I've heard that story, and I'm so glad that you did not.
Me too.
Like, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that again. Okay?
Okay.
Be careful with yourself as you go out in search of adventure. Oh my gosh. But you have that one. You have another documentary that was prior that was more related to disinformation.
Our 2022 film, Science Friction, which is another one that'll just pop up on streaming services if you're scrolling around. That one was it was interviews with scientists who have been deceptively edited out of context when they go on these TV shows as talking head experts.
And that was a real thing for a while. Like we were doing, okay. So it really still is. I just remember there were a bunch of us doing these science commentaries, documentaries, different things. And then a bunch of people came out and were saying, no, they actually took what I said out of context. Like for What Bleep and for other big name science documentaries that really had like the new agey kind of hit. And like the fact that is being done, that's lying. It's not okay.
It absolutely is. You know, in the best cases, it's lies of omission.
Yeah.
The typical good case scenario is let's say okay, your PhD is in bird brains, right? So let's say someone is making a documentary on the dodo bird, some extinct bird or something. They say, well, let's get a bird brain expert on here, and they have you talk about whatever we know about the dodo bird's brain. And don't interrupt me. That's probably meaningless, but go with it. And then they say, so what do you know about this legend of the monster emu of, Gabu Gabu? And you'll say, what the hell are you talking about? And they'll give you a Wikipedia article to read. And they'll say, can you summarize that legend for us? And you'll say, the Gabu Gabu evil emu terrorized villages in 1865. And then they'll take that entire hour-long interview that you just did and trash everything except you saying that. So that is the usual case. They'll edit everything that you said except when they get you to repeat some pseudoscience part of the legend. That happens. That's the norm. It's the really deceptive ones, which we showcased in the film, that are, hopefully outliers.
Yeah, I was lucky to have worked with a bunch of groups that they did a great job. Oops, I love hitting my pop filter to make it poppy and noisy. But I think, I'm glad that you did that documentary because it's important for people to be able to understand how things can be taken out of context, and that every time you go on for an interview, you should ask questions, right?
Yep.
Find out who they are, find out what their goal is, find out, what are they going to do with this afterwards? And sometimes even if you ask all the right questions, they could still completely
they can still lie. That happens too.
And so you got to know who's the production company. Do you know anybody who knows the production company? Do you there's all sorts of questions, but
Yeah. Look up the director's IMDb credits and you'll find all he's done is a million of these stupid, fact or fake shows or
Either that or it's been B horror movies or maybe C horror movies. Suddenly fact or fake. It's really? I feel like this. I mean, I'm all for people making a step in their careers, but I don't know. This is This Week in Science. We have a bunch of science to talk to you about. Head over to TWIS.org if you are interested in our show notes or finding out more information about the show. You can find us YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, streaming live 8 p.m. Pacific time-ish every Wednesday evening. Ish. We do try. We really do try. All right. So we were talking about the Artemis mission and sending humans around the moon. And I just wanted to talk about one more aspect of that. Are you listening to the Lunar Wake Up playlist?
I'm aware of it and I've seen it, but I haven't listened.
Yeah. I know. I just saw that. I think they were upset when Chapel Roan got turned off mid-broadcast. They were waking up and then, nope, no more music for you astronauts, get to work. So
well, at least it's not all Kid Rock.
Do you know anything about the science that's being done with the Artemis II mission? Have you heard anything?
No,
about
actually, I've got nothing on that.
Nothing. Well, I might have some things related to the science. So they're really interested because it's a long distance project, right? The next step is not just to go around the moon, but to land on the moon again. And so it's not just, can we go and do a loop-de-loop and come back and, be like, woo, yay. And I saw somebody in our chat earlier ask about whether or not there is a documentary on the radiation shielding for Artemis. What are they doing for the astronauts' health? And they've done as much as they can, but really, we do not have all of the radiation shielding for the Van Allen belt for once they go out of the Van Allen belt. They don't have what we need. It's not they're working on it, but we have not figured all of it out yet. So this study, they have an organ on a chip device that has basically cellular material from each of the astronauts. It's a project called Avatar. And this Avatar device, it's a virtual astronaut tissue analog response investigation. It is going to be used to study the cellular impacts of radiation on the astronauts. And so it's this really cool looking device. It's it's the size of something in your hand. I'm trying to get a good picture of it, but I'm going to just bring up this one screenshot right now where I can show you what I'm looking at. It's, as big as your thumb, maybe not even as big as your thumb. And it is a silicone plastic device that is filled with fluid, that it is filled with a cellular biofluid that can feed the bone marrow, where they have bone marrow and other blood vessel. They've got blood cells and cellular material to actually see what happens. So how is radiation going to impact changes at the genetic level and the cellular level on the astronauts' biological tissue? And these microfluidic tissue systems have gotten so wonderful and tiny. They're so cute. Look, it's an astronaut in the palm of your hand.
It's funny. Once I see Avatar, I realize,
it's not Avatar the movie.
No, but I realized, I wrote an article on this
did you
6 months ago, and just to illustrate how life is being a science writer,
that you move on.
Nothing about it at all because I've done so many other topics since then.
Welcome to my brain, Brian.
Literally remembered nothing about Avatar at all.
So In addition to this avatar project, they also have other projects. They have activity monitors. So they have little watches that they're wearing for monitoring their activity, their sleep, well-being, just their heartbeat, those kinds of things.
Are they wearing commercial devices or something custom made? Do you know?
This particular device that they're calling the Archer device, they don't say, I'm not seeing that it is a particular, I'm not seeing it's a particular device. So I don't know. That's a really great question.
All right.
I don't know the answer to that question. My son is upstairs trying to knock on the door to come in, and my husband is somewhere else, and I don't know why he's knocking on the door because my husband was supposed to have unlocked it. There's a lot of...
If he's bringing you a refill of your wine, let him in.
There's a lot of banging happening up there.
Mom, I'm on fire.
Okay, I hear my husband. All right, everything's fine. There was a lot of banging. Thank you for your patience for just one moment. That was a mom moment for sure. But that said, this Archer device and monitoring, they are, they're just going to be monitoring all these aspects. And additionally, looking at the risk of inadequate teamwork, in addition to inadequate sleep and irregular schedules, and behavioral conditions and psychiatric disorders. So I think one of the very interesting aspects of this are if they're not able to work together well, if astronauts, if they have one astronaut, like are they playing a game like what's one of the games that's that you play with the cards where like one person's the murderer or whatever? I forget what it's called.
Clue?
No, in the library with the candlestick. But something like that, yes. Okay. But there are various games that you can play where like the kids were playing it with the little dudes in the space station. And I want to call it Minions, but it's not Minions. My memory is not great anymore. Yeah, maybe Werewolf, Lon. I don't know. But it's anyway, these games, and I'm wondering if they're going to set up a situation where one of the crew members has to start not cooperating on purpose. They're not saying that's what they're doing, but I wonder if they're doing that because that would be such an interesting experiment.
Huh.
I would hate to be the person that was told you don't get to cooperate anymore. Be a jerk.
My guess is that's not something that would make the list of approved experiments.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, they are also doing radiation studies. So they are definitely making sure to see how radiation is really impacting these astronauts compared to astronauts that stay within the Van Allen belts. The astronauts that go to our International Space Station, because if we are going to really become a spacefaring society, we need to know what we can do and what among us, thank you, Lon, what we can do and what we can't do to keep people safe, right? So anyway, do and what we can't do to keep people safe, right? Okay.
Right.
I just heard myself again. Right? Am I echoing? I just heard myself.
I hear you. I think, is that coming from me?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay. No, I was popping open YouTube to try and find the chat, which I did. And so I just had to close YouTube. So I'm good now.
Here, I'll put the chat on stage right there.
Apologies.
The chat's on stage now.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Okay, so moving on from humans around the moon, I'm really excited. I hope they all come home safely. I really, really am looking forward to seeing this work. I've been a naysayer, and to actually see it happen, I cried. I sat on the tarmac in a plane in Washington, D.C., delayed by weather, thanking the weather for letting me watch the launch. And then I cried because it was so amazing to be able to get to that point. And I never thought that I'd see it. So anyway, I think it's important for us to talk about. But what about faster than light travel?
Yeah.
Have you thought about faster than light travel, Brian?
Much. I mean, this is kind of like the bane of my existence, is when you're trying to communicate science and you're in the realm of people who believe that aliens are visiting the Earth. They all believe that faster than light travel is possible. And the typical answer that they all say is that the explanation they give is aliens are smarter than us, so they know how to break the laws of physics.
They're so much smarter. But this has nothing to do with aliens?
How do you when they just say that it's a special pleading, obviously. I mean, that's the fallacious logic used there. How do you argue against that? I mean, you can't. They're saying magical powers, aliens have magical powers. That's the end of it. I'll hear no debate. So that's
it's the same with people who say the moon landing was all faked. What they're doing now is all faked. Everything's flat. I mean, that was really all a Russian psyop, everyone. There is like I can't go much I can't give you much better than that. Like we're in a not even an oblate spheroid universe.
I thought we were still doing the hyper-torus.
Oh, hyper-torus, oblate spheroid. There's just things for tongue twisters, but faster than light, aliens exist. They live among us. The Earth is flat. You can't convince us of anything else. But now physicists have determined there is something that moves faster than light. You know what it is?
Tachyons?
Dark. It's the dark. The dark moves faster than light.
That's not a thing. Dark is the lack of a thing.
I know. And so it's not actually something that moves faster than light. So this is a trick of words and concepts. But the researchers explain in their paper that was published within the last week in Nature, superluminal correlations in ensembles of optical phase singularities. Basically, if light is traveling as a wave, then there is other stuff that's around it being carried as a wave. And so what they have actually finally been able to use some of their technology for is to actually see these phase singularities accelerating and the velocities that in their movement, because they're ahead of the light, they're exceeding the speed of light. So it's apparent superluminal velocity, but it's not actually superluminal velocity because it doesn't happen without the light.
Yeah.
And it can't go away from the light. So it's basically like if you're looking at a wave at the ocean and you see the wave, but then there's the foam at the front of the wave. The foam is not traveling faster than the wave, right? It is foaming up because of the wave itself.
Right.
Well, the front edge of the wave is not moving faster than the wave. It is just the front edge of the wave. And so if you imagine that wave as the front edge is dark because the light isn't there yet, and behind it is the light and that wave-like phonon movement through whatever
that's interesting.
Space-time is. Yeah.
I mean, I remember back in the
front of it is dark, but that's just it's moving first and faster, but not without light. It can't do it on its own.
I'm trying to remember who this was, but this was like in the 1940s or 50s. Some physicist, or it may have even been like one of these Bertrand Russell philosopher kind of guys, I don't remember who it was, said, well, you could take a giant pair of scissors in space, like where each arm of the scissors is like a light year long, and you could close the scissors really fast. And the intersection for where the blades close can move substantially faster than light.
Yes.
Well, that's also not a thing that's moving. It's
Right.
it's a virtual reference point that
Yes,
is not represented by anything physical.
that is exactly it.
It
Yeah,
strikes me as
so-
the same kind of argument.
And it is. That is exactly it. So it's the phenomena, and they've been able to use electron microscopy to be able to see these vortices as they're moving in a light field. But
Really?
yeah, and so they've been able, and this is why it's very exciting that they've actually, for the first time, been able to take electron microscopy and be able to map the movement of polaritons. So these wave-like movements of light and the changing polarity of space around them over time, which I think is wild and really fun. It doesn't mean that anything actually does move faster than light. It means that we are detecting the predicted aspects of light as a wave as we have never seen it before for the first time, which I think is very exciting. That in itself is interesting. We should be talking about it.
I mean, so one of the guys that we're interviewing in our upcoming film, we're going down to Mexico this summer and interviewing Miguel Alcubierre
Okay.
of the Alcubierre Drive.
Yes.
Which, as some people know, NASA put a web page up with a rendering of some futuristic spaceship saying,
Oh,
here's
we've
what a
talked about this
spaceship would look
so
like.
much on this.
Okay.
We've
yeah.
talked about this so much in past shows. Yes.
So nobody is faster than Miguel to say, no, that is BS.
It doesn't work.
This is not a thing that
It's
could
not a
ever
thing.
exist.
Yeah.
However, in my pre-interviews with him, one thing he's talking about is we know that that faster than light travel can't exist in special relativity, but in general relativity, well, now you're kind of in a whole new freaky ass world because you've got black hole event horizons, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff, and that's sort of the realm where singularities exist. And I see someone mention wormholes in the chat.
Yeah.
Which is also a
It's
thing
not
that
the
doesn't
first time.
exist. Nevertheless, it's something that can be calculated and simulated. The
Yes.
same with the Alcubierre drive. He doesn't want to call it a drive. He says, don't ever call it a drive. It's a bubble. It's the Alcubierre bubble, if you want to call it anything.
Huh.
But it can't exist. However, as a concept, it lets us do certain things in physics equations. And my analogy for that, which he endorsed as a valid one, which I'm very, very pleased about, is most of us dealt with the number I in like high school mathematics, right? The square root of -1. It's an imaginary
Talk about
number.
imaginary numbers.
Yes.
Mhm.
There, you will never have apples in a basket. However, so it's not a thing. However, it's a very real thing when you're doing math. When you're doing equations, it lets us solve certain equations that we couldn't solve without it. So that's kind of where the Alcubierre drive exists, sort of in that realm.
And so this is something similar to that, where this phenomenon has existed in theory, predicted for a long time, but they were just recently able to make these superluminal correlations. So they were able to actually achieve, as they say, spatial and temporal resolutions, an order of magnitude below the polaritonic wavelength and cycle period. But this
Polaritonic is an awesome word.
There are so many awesome physics words related to optics, photons. If I could go back, I want to be a photon scientist. That's my specialty. But regardless, the researchers have been saying this for years, that there is this understanding that even though light appears uniform, it can be subject to disturbances, flow dynamics that we cannot perceive. And so because it's a particle in a wave and we get these vortices and polarizations, there's a hole. There's a hole in the light, in the corkscrew, there's a hole in the corkscrew. Sorry.
Hey,
I just
is there a way, can I reply to people in the chat without
Absolutely.
interrupting our conversation?
If you go to the chat side, there's a comments on the
There
right-hand
is?
side of your screen. You should be able to see all of them
In StreamYard?
and in
Oh, there it is.
StreamYard.
Look at that.
And you can talk to
Oh.
people. You should be able to, like, respond to
Okay.
particular people, and if you click the different channels, there's an all where you can click, like, one of the specific places they're coming from. You should just reply all. I think that would be the best.
Okay. Continue. Sorry to interrupt. Please.
No, we love the interruptions. It's so good. Can you keep talking for a little bit?
Okay.
Okay. I said 8 to 9 when we talked. Do you want to go to bed now? We've done 2 stories.
Do I want to go to bed?
Can we talk about more science?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yay! Brian said yes. Anyway, these researchers have created an amazing system supporting really interesting light waves and this amazing new measurement system. And this is an innovative microscopy technique that could actually reveal a lot of aspects, not just of optics, photonics, but also physics, chemistry, and biology. So when we're talking about the microscopes that are going to be letting us see some of those really, really fast interactions that take place in different systems, this is potentially going to be one of those systems that will do it. Which, I don't know. I was reading something earlier today about the Rockefellers, or the Rockefeller Foundation, and how the Rockefeller Foundation was ahead of, like, so many scientific developments that won Nobel Prizes. And so 10, 20 years before things started, they started giving money to people who were developing technologies and ways of looking at problems. Not people who were looking at problems, but people who were trying to figure out new tools to look into questions. And they went on to win Nobel Prizes. And I'm wondering now where we are with science and what we're doing, whether or not that is something that might get picked up by another foundation or philanthropic group. Who knows? I don't know anything. I just stay here. What do you think about planting trees?
I am planting trees currently at my house.
Why are you planting trees at your house?
Because there's certain trees here that will actually grow in areas where I just have bare dirt. And I'm trying to get desert scrub to grow in, but that takes 75 years.
That's a long time. But why would you want to change the desert scrub? Doesn't the desert scrub have its own value?
It does, and I want all desert scrub, but some of these trees are native, which is why I can transplant them. So I'm just having to move in from one part of the property to another.
So this study, I think, is very interesting to this. You're doing it for native plant reasons, but also probably shade and also, local environment, ecosystem. A lot of people want to plant trees and also adapt our agriculture, a lot of agriculture, to allow us to suck up more carbon.
Yes.
Because plants take carbon, they're a carbon sink, they turn it into oxygen, and then life is better, right? Well, there's lots of studies that suggest that you just can't do that. So plants have limits. There are specific plant limits. There are also environmental limits for plants in certain environments. And most recently, a group of researchers who were working with the Institute for Climate Impact Research in Potsdam, International Institute for Applied Systems Analysis, Humboldt University of Berlin, Grantham Institute, Climate Change and the Environment, Imperial College London, Department of Sustainable Carbon Management, Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research. And I really like saying Potsdam, not with a German accent. But these researchers wanted to understand if we took action on carbon, like plant more trees,
Right.
genetically
When you buy your
modified
plane
trees.
ticket, you can check the box to say, offset my carbon.
Yeah, right.
They
Put more
plant
trees on
trees.
your land, Brian. You're in Portland. If we cut down it, we cannot cut down trees without telling the city, and we have to replace it. Like we have to pay a fee and we have to replace the tree immediately. Like there are rules locally in place. But trees are a huge part of decarbonization scenarios. And so one of the big questions is, can we just plant trees? And if we put trees everywhere, is it going to be great? So we, have been deforesting Brazil and the Amazon. Who cares? Plant trees in Alaska. Doesn't matter where we put them. And according to their study, why, yes, indeed, it matters. So, their study looked at a whole bunch of issues related to global biodiversity and where different life shows up in different places. And so they determined that if the framework for global biodiversity is enforced, more than 50% of the land that is set aside for carbon removal in the assessed scenarios is going to become unavailable, or land would have to be used instead, potentially abandoned cropland, or less land-intensive strategies to remove carbon would be needed. Basically, though, they've determined that where you put trees matters. You can't just put trees wherever we took trees from here, we'll put them there. You can't just put trees wherever you want and have it just be okay. And I look at these studies and I see the information coming from the scientists who finally looked at one particular little tiny question as part of this big question of how do we manage climate change? But I go, don't we already know this? Like, if you desertify a place, you messed it up. Like, we can't just put plants, like one of your favorite places, Death Valley. We can't just go put trees there.
No, that would not work.
No, and it would also, if we could figure out how to do that in the first place, it would also destroy some of the wonderful desert biodiversity that is so unique to that area. So, like, I don't know, I look at these kinds of issues and the way that people look at them and like at the way that policymakers potentially look at them or big corporations. And I just think to myself, are they even paying attention to what matters?
I mean, yes. I mean, obviously everything you're saying. However, when you, I made the example of when you buy a plane ticket and you check the box to, offset my carbon footprint by, and
trees.
you pay a few extra bucks, and that pays to plant trees basically. And that does go to some nonprofit or someone who is reasonably knowledgeable about what to do and how to do it.
You hope.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they're able to. If I buy a plane ticket from New York to Iceland, okay, how am I going to offset that carbon? Well, okay, where is that carbon going to go? What elevation is it going to be? What altitude in the air is? I mean, it's not a one-for-one thing. You can plant a tree here, and you can calculate that over the lifespan of this tree, it's going to breathe so much CO2. but it's also going to eventually die, and it's going to get buried, and it's going to release. It's an extremely complicated thing. So it's just kind of a fudge factor. It really is. By no means are you actually. Now, I'm aware of this of the study that you're talking about, because I've seen it being linked around, but I haven't looked at it yet. So I don't know what it says, but I mean, just from my own experience writing on related topics, it's like, yeah, you can do more yourself. Just having a salad for one meal instead of a steak.
I mean, and that's
more carbon than you would by checking the box on your plane ticket.
And right now you're being Blair. Yes.
Am I?
Yeah, that was a Blair answer. Yay. Very well done.
Wait, is that good?
That's great.
Okay.
But
Yay.
But I mean, that is it's interesting, because when we think about like all this stuff, happening beyond us at the big policy levels, intergovernmental, non-governmental organizations, people working at levels beyond us with our apartments or our houses or whatever. What are we supposed to do? And it's the voting for people who care to maintain things like the EPA and our National Forest Service, and aspects of the way that we go about business that do not prioritize the pillaging of our natural resources. And if you own land with trees, maybe if you want to move a tree, take a tree and see where you can move it. Don't just cut one down, right? Or if you do cut trees down, maybe see if you can plant trees somewhere else. I mean, there's a lot that can be done. But
I cut down trees all the time, but they're dead ones.
So. I know. I have a very dead tree on my property right now. And
can I come cut it down?
Yeah, you want to come? It's very, very dead.
I love doing that.
Yes, that would be great. We have a come along. We have everything ready.
I'll chop it down. I'll take it down. I'll limb it up, but I won't haul away the pieces.
That's fine. I'll use them. We have fireplaces.
All right.
I mean, I believe in also being ready to take care of yourself when they cut off the power. Everybody who thinks that we should go all electric all the time without everybody having battery backups and ways to do all this, no. I'm not a prepper, but I might be.
All right, so I'll push back on that
a little,
because everyone should go all electric. However, how that's usually...
How does that happen that is not just infrastructure when the trees go down and everything?
That's usually misrepresented by anti-electric car people is...
I'm not anti.
If everyone had an electric car tomorrow, then, the world would explode and the grid wouldn't be able to handle it. That's not the way it happens. When you say everyone should go electric, that means next time in your future... sometime when you have the ability to choose what kind of car you want to get, and you're looking at used options and new options, prefer an electric. Tell you what, I'm glad as heck that I have an electric right now, because a tank of gas still costs $7 for me. It's not $100.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, but the grid can absolutely handle. I've done whole episodes on this, and the math is all.
The grid can handle it, and the issue, and I know you have, and I know there are a lot of people in my audience who are very up on this, but like when we talk about the grid can't handle it or the grid can handle it, one of the key issues that's been a problem there is the synchronization of the electrical signals from the vehicle to the grid and out, or from solar panels into your system, into a battery and out. It's the synchronization. And we're talking about it's whether or not electric vehicles can be within the grid is the same technical problem as whether or not solar panels can be in the grid. Like when it comes down to it. Because the electric vehicles can actually be they can be storage.
And they are, in fact.
And electric vehicles can put back in the grid. They
There
can
was
put
a
into your
great
house.
one of the car magazines like Motor Trend
So
or Car
good.
and Driver, or one of these guys did a podcast. It's a while ago now. It's been 3 or 4 years. But they had their guest for the episode was the guy who was the chairman of, I forget the name of the group, but in California, there is a sort of an NGO that determines how resources get allocated between all the different utility companies and how everything gets used among everything that they share. Basically, he's the guy who knows more about the health of California's grid than anyone else on the planet. And he said that in these last few years, California had actually had I forget what the numbers were, but a substantial boost in grid reliability and availability because of V2G, the vehicle to grid technology. Now, that's something that the very few electric cars have currently, but it's still
Not that
enough
many, but it's
that it made a
coming.
huge difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, even if there's only like 100 in LA, and that's not very much considering the size of LA, that's 100 big batteries that are driving 100 different houses, and that makes a huge dent when you've got a brownout. Because these brownouts are, they're just like right on the verge. So V2G is super helpful. I wish I had it in my car. I don't.
And so in our house, and I think the electrical question, I think is an important one because we're also getting to gosh darn it, I really need to fix my pop card.
She's new at this, people. Give her a break.
I love you all. I'm sorry.
Hey, we believe in you, Kiki. Everyone type that.
I had it one way and then I changed it, and now I keep hitting it because I move my hands when I talk.
Okay, we still like you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that it's not just because I smack my pop card around. Oh, geez. But in terms of the grid and how we're going to move forward, and I have a couple of topics related to artificial intelligence that are going to come up. And so we have to think about power for the grid when we are talking about how we're going to move forward, because data centers and the contracts that our states and locales are making with these big companies are going to impact the price of our energy. And so if you live in a place, and now you do, out in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, right?
Yeah.
If you have above ground power, the lines could get hit by a tree, ice could get into them, the breakers go out. Like, there's all sorts of things between you and the substation that could impact the power getting to your location. And so when you're out in a place, you have to prepare for it. And so you get a Jenny or you get battery backup. You try and develop a system that is sustainable. One of the things that still works, as much as people don't want us to use it, though, is natural gas. And it is going to be great until there's a big earthquake. But until we can ensure a system where everyone is covered by battery backups, where everyone is covered by underground lines that do not break or corrode during the winter, during the wet season, we need backups. We need resiliency. And I want us to move to all electric. I want us to get to a point where we don't have to use any fossil fuels anymore, where everything is created from solar, from wind, from nuclear, whatever. But we have to get there first.
Yeah,
it's one of my soapboxes.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. And it's interesting because I live in a place where very, very few people are receptive to that. It's interesting times when I stop in at the local dive bar, because I'm the only person in there not wearing a red hat.
But don't they have a Jenny? Aren't they looking at, wouldn't they be interested in solar and battery backups if they didn't have to pay for gas? Because the bottom line is actually financial. It's not anything. So if you talk about how you can set up yourself to not pay the Strait of Hormuz
I find that farmers
Oh
are
my gosh.
totally into all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're not a
Yeah.
farmer, no way. Even
Mhm.
if you're a rancher, but it's the farmers they use glyphosate, they love GMOs, they pretty much accept all science.
Yep.
Farmers are at there. There's a big thing. The University of Oregon
That's
has
interesting.
an
Yeah.
initiative where they're putting solar panels above farms. And I was at this event with one of these guys, and I'm going, but hey, how do you drive a tractor when there's a post in the way supporting a solar panel? Say, oh, it's designed like this, and it fits between the rows, and so you drive
But
here,
what
and that's
about
all
the solar
designed.
panel being in the way of the sun for the plants? Like,
So
isn't there an
if
impact?
do you do much gardening?
Yes.
Do you notice that your plants that are in partial sunlight always do better than the plants that are in full sunlight? It's the same with farm crops.
I had never I grew up in the middle of California surrounded by alfalfa,
Yes, you did.
corn, and sugar beets, tomatoes.
Yeah.
So everything was always full sun. I've never actually
Yeah.
everything
I
is
mean,
always full sun. I've
if you
never
drive the San
considered that.
Joaquin Valley now, which is
Yeah.
the Central Valley in California where like half the world's agriculture used to take place, and it's now like dry dirt because there's no water left.
Yep.
So many farms have converted into
My
solar
dad's well.
factories.
Yeah.
You and you used to drive past, an hour of almond groves, and now
Mhm.
you're driving through an hour of solar farms. And
I haven't where my dad is, where our house is, the family house, I haven't seen that. I've seen more almonds because
oh, good.
there's like a it's not good, but
Well,
because they're still
well,
stealing it's still water.
well,
More
we need
water than
almonds, though.
I love
Yeah.
almonds. I do, but I would love to see more windmills, more solar, and I have not seen that yet where I grew up, but I'd love to see that.
My electric
Huh,
company, and again, as you mentioned, I'm
interesting.
kind of out in the middle of nowhere here. I'm not in city limits or anything.
Yeah.
My electric company is like the Central Oregon Electrical Co-op, and almost all of their customers are ranches and farms. It's very few resident. Well, I mean, mostly residential, but it's all ranch and farm residential. And they're super big in their bills with giving you this breakdown of how carbon neutral all the power source is and everything.
Mhm.
And it's really well received and really well loved. And the funny thing is, this is the exact same town where the local sort of pulp magazine that comes each week that's nothing but ads and coupons is called the whatever it is magazine, where mega is capitalized, zine is in small letters. So there's
Oh,
just
no.
this weird broken in half Venn diagram here where I love that farmers seem to be extremely pro science in
They
pretty much
are.
every way I've encountered so far.
Because they see and they're actually, working with people who are helping them save the soil so that they will have
Yeah.
efficient crops and harvests as long as they can, because we have a serious topsoil problem as well. And they're also working with farmers who can help them figure out how to fertilize, how to get rid of weeds, how to the science is helping farmers, and so the farmers are involved in it. It's not, and this is what I love about the American land grant universities. Our public land grant universities are actually research institutes where the researchers are working with people like farmers in their communities to solve problems. And we do not talk about our land grant universities enough.
I agree.
I didn't even know what one was until several years ago.
Me too. I had to
what?
look it up. I started hearing the term so often out here. I had to look it up and learn about that and go, oh wow, cool.
They are important, and they are actually a major foundational piece of our university system. And I think we all need to everyone cheer on your public land grant universities. They are doing good work.
And everyone, I am reading the comments as quick as I can get through them, as much as I can.
Anything you want to comment on related to these comments?
Well, no, I mean, lucky I have no specific questions that I have to dedicate myself to typing to, but I very much appreciate and agree with the trend that everyone's talking about.
There are some really great people who chat and talk in
100%.
this show, and I appreciate their comments so much. So I was going to talk about a story related to Voorhees Law, and why is it that when you drive fast, a slow car always catches up with you? The same way that in Friday the 13th, when Jason Voorhees only walks and the people run.
Is that why it's named that?
Yes.
No way. This is amazing. I love this.
This study, this paper, it is published Royal Society Open Science, Connor Boland in Dublin City University. It is fully a math proof. Like, this is just a if this, then that kind of a system. But basically, if you have two cars taking off from the same traffic signal, one faster, one slower, and then you have more traffic signals in between them, depending on how many traffic signals and how long those traffic signals are, the more or less likely that slow car is going to catch up with you.
Oh, okay. That's just like a time speed distance thing. That's not
It
behavioral.
basically is. It's a time speed distance problem. But so the basis, though, is something that hasn't really been involved in traffic modeling, which makes me go, what? Like, what? How? So the basic model is not a multi-light corridor model. And so usually it's like a light to light system. And so all of the traffic modeling is based on these single thoroughfares, number of lanes, and light to light, not multi-light. And so if we actually said, we're not on a freeway, we're in city streets, and there's multiple lights, maybe they could actually figure out why you can't get from the east side to the west side of Portland in 15 minutes anymore. But anyway, I didn't just raise my voice.
No.
And this has nothing to do with Jason Voorhees, although statistically and psychophenomenologically, we all probably have felt that car that we tried to get away from continuing to come up behind us. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's often me. I'm often that car because I have my cruise control on. I'm not violently accelerating and decelerating as I drive like the guy in front of me always is.
And this is one of the things that, like, okay, so we have now cars with cruise control. We have cars that are self-driving even. We have cars that if you are just driving at a certain pace, that's your pace. You accelerate, you hit your pace, you stay there until you have to stop. Ta-da, everything's good. Then you have people who do not follow regular rules of the road. They accelerate violently, stop violently. They may be sporadic or chaotic in the way that they interact with the road. You can't, if you're not adding chaos into your modeling system, you know nothing, Jon Snow.
I was hoping that this was going to, when you started to talk about it, I was hoping that it explained why when everyone gets to finally when the passing lane appears and everyone tries to get around the guy that's going below the speed limit.
That's it. Yeah.
He suddenly accelerates to 95 so that nobody can beat him.
That's what I was hoping I was hoping this study would answer that question too. It did not.
Okay.
I really, really was hoping this study would do that. It didn't. Okay. This is This Week in Science. Everyone, if you're enjoying the show, please over to twis.org and click on that Patreon link. That's how we support the show. The Zazzle link also helps. You can find cool stuff that Blair made, TWIS stuff. It's how you help support the show. Unless you decided to share it with someone you love. Share TWIS today. We can't do this without you. Thank you for your support. Okay. What about mouse FTL?
Mouse FTL.
Well, it's not really
Are we
fast.
talking about actually mice?
Yeah,
Like
I'm talking about
slingshot?
mice.
Like a
I
super big
am.
slingshot that's really high powered?
I just love the things that people name things sometimes. And so it's the sensational way I get into a story. But I don't actually have to go the sensational route when talking about it. People looking at aging in the brain at UC San Francisco just published a study looking at mice because that's what they do. They published a study in Nature Aging targeting iron-associated protein FTL1 in the
Now
brain
you're
of
talking about
old.
faster than light.
Now I know it sounds like it, but it's just a protein in the brain. Iron-associated protein FTL1 of old mice improves age-related cognitive impairment. I thought that we might enjoy this study because maybe one day we can be mice too.
Okay.
Yeah, the researchers found that this particular protein, FTL1, it becomes higher in level as mice age. Older mice have more FTL1 than younger mice when they replaced and repaired FTL1 in the brains of old mice. They were able to reverse memory decline. So they showed performance improvements on memory tests. They had great connections between their brain cells again. The FTL1, I hit my thing again. The FTL1 protein, as it increases in the aging brain, and this is found in the human brain as well, but they tested it in mice. As it increases in the brain, we start to see a pruning of connections. The neurons in the brain are not as plastic, are not as connected as they used to be. So maybe they could fix it, but they could fix it in mice. Higher levels of the protein slowed down cellular metabolism in the hippocampus. They were able to repair the hippocampus, which is important for memory and
Yes.
navigation and all sorts of things when they fixed the FTL1 protein. So faster than light, FTL1, this protein is essential. Getting
Well, I'm
older.
always looking at proteins that clog up your brain and slow things down, that cause all of these cognitive diseases. My family has Huntington's disease.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
And my dad didn't have it, so I don't have it and can't pass it on. It's one of those 50-50 things. You either have it and you'll die of it, or you'll pass it on to 50% of your offspring and all of them will die.
But
of
it's
it.
a 50%, so it could be every other generation. It could be passed on.
No, it can't skip. It
No.
can't skip you. If I get the gene,
Okay.
I will get Huntington's disease. In our family, the age of onset depends on how many defective repetitions the gene has. And our family has a huge, really rarely huge number. So people in my family don't get it until they turn like 65 or something. Pretty old.
But can you see the genes ahead of time to know whether
yes,
now
you can
that there's testing?
There's testing now.
No.
There used to be, but there is now. And
Yeah.
some of the people in the family decided not to get tested, and they don't want to know. And sometimes people died without getting tested, and their offspring doesn't know, and they can't exhume the corpse because they got what's the word? Burned.
Cremated.
Cremated. Thank you. Yeah, but anyway, the point being that that's another case where the disease is caused by this random buildup of this protein in your brain that just gets replicated out of control and just starts clogging stuff up. And
Yeah.
they called it Huntington.
Huntington is the protein. TIN is the protein. Huntington's, TON is the disease.
Now I'm trying to remember. It might be Huntingdon with a D, but T or
I
a
don't
D.
think so. I think it's a T.
That sounds
Huntington.
more, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My family is multiple sclerosis on my mom's side, and that tends to skip a generation. So it's interesting talking to my nephews because they're actually afraid because it could have been passed down on my brother's side. Like, yeah. So it's interesting talking to them because it's the way that multiple sclerosis appears is not as it's not as genetically obvious as Huntington's as that is now that we have genetic testing. Now, I went and had my genes tested and I have a higher than normal percent probability, right?
Yeah, you do.
But it also has to do with whether or not you come in contact with a certain virus or whether there's an environmental trigger that stimulates that particular autoimmune signal to go. And so there's still a crapshoot involved. But yeah, genetics are weird. But when it comes to the brain and it comes to being able to solve, like there's so many people who want to solve aging. And I don't think that we're going to solve aging because I think aging is a part of life. You have to, at a certain point, end up in a senescent process, right? You have to get to a point before you die, right? There has to be decline.
Yes.
And we'll make it as short and painless as possible for everybody. And I think that is one of the great things that we can do with our technology. But I actually don't celebrate the day that we get rid of aging or death.
No, I mean the thing is that as you get older, and you wouldn't know this because you're still an infant.
I thought we agreed I'm older than you, Brian.
You're not older than me. You're not even close. As you get older and your body starts to fall apart, and you also you look like shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we clean tagged or not?
We're fine. We're after hours.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're not clean tagged.
You look like shit and your body falls apart. You also give fewer fucks. So the aging thing, I mean, you really don't care.
It's aging. Yes.
When you're there, you don't care.
And I do think there is something to be said for getting to a point in your life where you're old enough to not care anymore and just live. Let's just live and finally have a good time. Hopefully. Come on. But moving on from... Yeah.
Continue. Moving on. Yes.
Let's continue. Let's get there. How do we get there, though? How about ADHD MGMT? ADHD management. How do we do this? Researchers just published a really fun study, and I don't know about you. I never was diagnosed as ADHD or autistic or neurodivergent, but I am. The truth is I am. And these researchers just published a study of kids 6 to 10, 107 of them, who got either integrated training where they did aerobic stuff that also was like, do a thing, hold a pose, pay attention, don't just run. You actually have to use your brain with your body. So it's integrated, right? And then they had another group that was just aerobic. So ride a bike, run, whatever. Or a group that didn't do anything. They didn't have to do anything. They just did memory control stuff. And they met these different groups, did 3 times a week for 45 minutes, their thing. And what they discovered is that the kids who got the integrated control, so the do a push-up and hold it, do things in a row, like cognitive loading them that include reverse commands and multi-step sequences, that those kids over the period of the 12-week program, their ADHD actually improved in terms of the way they paid attention to things and their energy levels, and they were really paying attention to things. So the body and this is something that has been suggested for kids in classrooms who have ADHD. That's like some kids, they need to walk and listen, or they need to do something while they are
Yeah.
thinking to be able to incorporate the information. And a lot of classrooms don't want you to do that because it disrupts the classroom. It's really, even fidget spinners, it was a great idea, but the teachers had to take them away.
This is why I got into
Yeah.
doing the really big Rubik's cubes, like the
Really?
7x7 or the 9x9,
Really?
because I cannot watch a movie unless I'm doing something like that.
Really?
I
Oh, interesting.
have to do two things. If I'm going to pay attention to something, I have to be doing something else.
This
If I'm
makes a
not
lot
doing
of
something
sense.
else, I cannot focus on it. I'm drifting all over the place. And that's something that keeps me right on target. In fact, I actually got in trouble for this on one of our Skeptoid adventures.
I thought you were paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. We were doing a little conference, a little mini skeptic conference on board the ship. And I'm sitting in the front row because I was like kind of emceeing and I was going up and introduced. And during everyone's talk, I'm opening up my iPad and I'm playing Sudoku on it. And some of the
it's
board
shining at your face, and you're like,
some of the board of directors are sitting in the back and they're looking at this going, what the hell? Dunning's not even paying freaking attention to these people. And I'm like trying to explain to them later. They like have
this is how I pay attention.
Right? This big intervention. And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
I actually I can tell you exactly. I made this triple word score at the same time that they made this point. I remember. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know Scrabble. It's not Sudoku, but
no, it's very much a thing though.
I think it really is. And I just really appreciate studies like this that go, in depth to really look at the question of what can help thinking, what thinking is for different brain types, and how we can. It doesn't answer the question of how we can integrate this better into classrooms, right? It doesn't answer the question of how we can help teachers or classrooms that are difficult to deal with already. But at the same time, stuff like this gives a lot of evidence to the idea of if parents or teachers, schools, PE programs can get kids not just running, but doing things that integrate the mind and the body at the same time, that it could be beneficial across the board. I don't know. And if kids understand how their minds work and their bodies work together better, I think that's better. Right?
This is the kind of thing where I would hope that the guys who did the experimental design are themselves ADHD positive.
You do hope so. Yeah.
And have been through all the experiences of being on and off their meds and know what works and know what doesn't, and have tried a bunch of different things and really understand, okay, here's the kinds of things that we should test.
Yeah.
And I know this gets into personal anecdotes because the last thing.
But you start from an anecdote. I mean, I think that is where science starts. You don't start with I don't know anything.
Yeah, it's
an observation is an anecdote. It's just personal, or it's somebody else's personal.
Yeah, I should say not the guys who designed the study, but they should have consulted with people.
Yes. Yeah, and I think they did. It sounds like it sounds like the quote unquote interventions that they chose for this study were appropriate.
The thing is, if you're trying to get me to pay attention to an assignment in class,
Mm.
telling me to go exercise could not be less relevant. But
No?
letting me sit there in the class and rattle away on a noisy Rubik's Cube would be fantastic. Now, that's just me, and that's,
Mhm.
that's different from everyone else, but it's something for everyone. But going outside and exercising that's not relevant. I can go outside and exercise and have, clears my mind and, makes me, I feel great from the brain chemicals and all that and everything, but that's not going to help me focus when I sit down in class afterward. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. Everyone's different, but the physical thing, I personally, I know that I do way better at like doing a HIIT class or a video, like lifting weights, push-ups, blah, 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 going crazy and focusing on all sorts of different things than just running. Running or like writing, I get frustrated.
Can't do
I
it.
can't handle it. I am mad at people. This is why I took up boxing. Ah.
No, and I've heard that when the Oculus, now called the Meta Quest, when it first came out, it was the Oculus Quest.
Yep.
And its success was tied almost entirely to the first really big game on it, which was Beat Saber.
I remember that game. Yeah.
Yeah, and Beat Saber was this
Totally.
insane exercise
So fun.
that engaged everything. And you're basically, if you haven't heard of it, you're in some, kind of Tron-like world, and you've got two lightsabers, and there's all these things flying at you, and you got to hit them with the lightsabers. But it's all timed to this music, which is why it's called Beat Saber. It
was like Guitar Hero, and as like, I don't know, it was like kind of like Guitar Hero, but like one of the martial art things put together.
Yeah. And that was something that I read that people with ADHD found that was the first exercise that they could do that really held their attention and made them want to keep doing it. I get bored I can't go to a gym. Bored to hell. Forget it.
Only if I'm punching people. I mean, things.
Luckily, this is why you had a child. I know.
But it's coming back to haunt me because he's 15 years old now, and all he wants to do is beat me up because he loves me. Like, seriously. Constantly punch, 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 kick, kick. And I'm like, stop it. I cannot. You cannot fight me. I cannot beat you up right now. Oh my gosh.
Right. What's our next science story here?
Okay, next science story. Free choice. Where do you fall in free choice?
That's a super interesting question because
free choice or not? It's been a debate for a really long time.
It's the nurture versus nature thing. It's so much depends on the exact state of your brain right now that you don't have free choice, in the strict definition, except that so much of that's going on is chaotic and totally unpredictable. And that is what constitutes a choice.
Yes.
So
technically, if we go back and the parsimony of splitting up everything, right? Every aspect of everything that leads up to a choice.
Your choice is driven by what happens, but what your brain does. So I mean, in one sense, you could describe my position as being 100% no free choice, because there's never a point where your consciousness is able to overcome the brain state at, the most basic level of every frickin' synapse and cell in your brain.
Yeah.
Which are all
Everything your brain
collapsing
knows, right?
into these random 50-50 things. Has anyone ever coded an AI? Anyone ever coded machine learning?
I'm sure there are people who have. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure there's people who have. Yeah. So
I
how
mean,
you've got
and it's
all of
like,
the nodes and the weighting and everything, and
or if then you have the gates, right?
yeah. I mean,
Gates of
everything is weighted, and
Mhm.
there is still you're weighting the choice, but it's still there's still a random element in there.
Yeah.
And that's what we perceive to be the choice that we make. But in reality, it's really just the chemistry that happened to manifest.
Yeah. I love Kevin Reardon says, yes, I've coded.
It's fun, isn't it? It's kind of cool.
You're in control of a quote unquote being's choices. So some researchers just published in the journal Imaging Neuroscience.
Okay.
Their work on free choice or decisions. And part of it is that they looked at the brain, they imaged the brain as people were given a choice. Some of the choices were like, you're at a cafe and you can choose between a donut or a tart. And you get to choose. You get
Was
to
this
choose.
fMRI? What was it?
Yeah, it was fMRI.
Okay.
Wait, you're not into it?
I
You're like,
completely dismissed this
no,
in its
it does
entirety.
not. fMRI
That
is
is
not completely
way
gone.
too high level. You're talking about atomic scale reactions, and fMRI has
I agree with you there.
of what, 1 cc? I mean, it's really bad. It's not atomic scale, molecular scale anyway.
Yeah, and I agree with you there actually that the time scale of decision is important. And so they actually looked at some aspect of this in what they were testing. So what they kind of had people have the opportunity to do was have time to choose a donut or a tart. You're going to a cafe and this is a situation, you get to choose which one and you have time to think about it. And they watched the processes, or at least the electrical activity during that decision-making time versus, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any tarts. You get nothing or a donut. And then what happened in that moment of being forced to make a decision? So it is either free choice, free choosing. It's still not free or freedom, but you have that illusion of choice, right? Versus your brain suddenly having to just be, okay, nothing or a donut. What do I want? And so what they saw from their experiments is that the brain, no matter what, each time, free or forced decision, the activity that they measured, the signal, it increased steadily to kind of like the same peak level. And if they had to decide really fast, that signal just got there faster, but it was the same place. There was like a particular level of activity in the brain that was like, this is decision. And if you had longer time to make it, the activity took longer to get to decision. But it's like as if there was like, there's an awareness, of course, of this is the point at which the decision must be made. And the brain takes the amount of time that it needs prior to that point to get to the same place. But the activity is not different. They did not see a difference between nothing or a donut versus nothing, or versus long time choice standing in line, donut or a tart. There was no difference.
So, I mean, this is like a neurology thing, and I
Yeah.
am not a neurologist, and I have no relevant domain expertise in any of these sciences involved here. However, I'm now going to talk as if I do.
I think it's fascinating.
My sense is that what you divine from an fMRI study like this is kind of the exhaust note of what's going on. I think people draw a causative arrow
Oh,
in,
that's interesting.
we see
Yeah.
activity converging on this section of the brain, as if, when everything gets to that part of the brain, that's going to cause the decision to happen. But I think the
Your
decision
brain
is much
always
faster.
has all the information, right? And your brain is ahead of you cognitively. Your brain knows
Yeah.
more than you know consciously,
Yes.
which I think is like something we forget about all the time, right? Like our brain is always picking up information and it's got it in there. And so when we go to make a decision, tart or donut, it's able to think about, oh, am I being forced into this? No. Do I like donuts? Do I like tarts? How much sweet do I want today? I'm on a diet. Oh, no. Like there are all the things that you can think about versus the sudden forced decision of like, oh, donut or nothing. What if I look bad in front of my friends for only ordering a coffee? I think there are so many things in there.
Yeah, and when you there's there are decisions that are easy but painful. There are decisions that are hard but not especially painful. It's like there's like this 2x2 matrix. How hard is the decision? How painful is the decision?
And I don't think they
And
took any of that into account
no,
in
but I
this.
mean,
That's not what they were looking at.
that's an
Yeah.
example of 4 types of decision processes
Yeah.
that, in my opinion, engage very different parts of the brain and would
Yep.
produce very different results on this.
Yep. Yeah.
In my totally non-expert opinion, uninformed by any relevant domain expertise.
Well, I do think this study is interesting because it did find that even though the brain ended up getting to the same level of activity, here I go hitting my thing again. That
Just don't do it anymore. I mean,
I
how hard is
know
that?
I tried to move it. I've done all sorts of things and I am a problem. This is just what we've decided recently.
Can confirm.
But the way that the brain gets there, depending on how fast it gets there, the brain knows how fast it has to get there. And our brain adapts. I think our brain is always going to do what is most efficient energetically for the brain to do.
Yeah.
And the output might already be there for us at the end. Like it gets to this, like there's always a certain point that it gets to, which is decision point.
I mean,
And
it's an
that might be
interesting
predetermined.
it's an interesting hypothesis that alone might explain all decisions.
Yeah.
Which one was the least energy intensive for the brain to come to?
Or how did it, to get there faster or to take the time it needs just to get to that point. We don't have to make a decision until Friday. I'm just going to do a low level. I mean, I really want to have this study done with people who are known to ruminate on decisions just to figure that out a little bit. But moving on to the last couple stories for the night, I do really want to talk about the artificial intelligence issue. ArsTechnica reported on a study this week about cognitive surrender and artificial intelligence.
What is that?
Yeah, researchers from the University of Pennsylvania have published a study related to how artificial intelligence and the use of ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, what's the other one? Copilot, all the others. How it is reshaping human reasoning and that it is leading to the rise of cognitive surrender. That because AI has seemingly authoritative answers, that people are accepting them and just going, okay, you're an AI, you know.
Yeah.
And I
but
really,
I mean,
really was excited to talk with you about this because of one of the things that they bring into it, which is quote unquote uncritical abdication of reasoning itself.
yeah, I can see that. However, we're talking about something that, I mean, does your grandmother do this? Does your grandmother go to Chat GPT?
No.
So few
My
people
grandmother? No.
and the same people who do it, which is a tiny percent of the population, is two Venn diagrams that are a circle. They're the same people writing about it and talking about it. So when you read these articles, it says, people are doing this. We're all doing this. No, the 6 people who do this are the same ones writing about it. I think this is something that is not nearly as widespread as people think. Like, I know when I think of all of my friends that I have some knowledge of how they go through their day, I don't know a single one who uses any AI tool with any kind of regularity. They will
Okay.
do it once in a while and deliberately, like, I killed this plant. How do I not kill this plant? Let's see what AI says.
As opposed to just searching for it at a local or calling a local garden shop, or like there's an interesting choice that people are making now.
Well, I mean, I think the
I know I'm
big
putting you on the edge here, but you
no
know.
the biggest, the most problematic part of this is that search engines are putting the AI results up first.
I do think that's a problem. Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I search for American Airlines to buy a plane ticket, I get an AI written article about American Airlines is the first thing that comes up. And God knows what that's going to be.
Yeah.
And if I search, my ice cream is melting, how do I make ice cream with a higher melting temperature? I'm going to get an AI response.
Definitely don't put alcohol in it.
Well, it depends on the ice cream. I mean, another subject.
Yeah, but I am concerned, and this is something that has come up recently, especially with the insistence on putting AI into our universities and into our high schools, and the insistence that AI has to be part of so many of the educational systems and work systems that we have now, that even though now maybe not everybody, maybe not even a third of the friends that you have are doing these things right now, but the concern is that we are, without questioning, entering into a system that is going to harness us as opposed to us harnessing it.
Well, okay, I actually agree with those kind of decisions to put AI forefront in education and everything, because it's happening, and no amount of
Agree.
let's stop it from happening and let's regulate it is going to slow that down or temper it even. So you got to get in front of it, and the only way you're going to get in front of it is by knowing as much about it as you can.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
it's
any
true. It's
efforts
not,
to
there's no putting
stop
it
the-
back in the box, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's out. Mhm.
So trying
No
to
matter if they like put Sam Altman in a box, it doesn't matter.
I mean, you're trying to deny something that's a real part of the world by not
Yeah.
putting it first and foremost, because in many ways it is first and foremost. once all your students graduate from, let's say you're a high school teacher and you're deciding whether to teach the kids about AI and whether to have AI tools in the classroom. Well, as soon as they graduate high school, they're all going to go looking for jobs, and not a goddamn one of them is going to find a job right now because AI has like wiped out their industry. That's a story I hear every freaking day right now.
Yeah. I am hearing fun stories though, like people listening to middle school kids and somebody saying, "Oh, the teacher asked me to use AI to look that up," and another middle school's kid saying, "You would use AI? You wouldn't do it by yourself? AI is going to make you like gonna dull your senses, dull your intellect." Middle school kids are starting to cap on each other for using AI. So I think there's some interesting backlash that might be happening in some sectors, but it's definitely not everywhere. And I mean, it's the same kind of backlash that I think is happening among certain sectors of that, like high schools and colleges, where kids are not getting smartphones, they're getting flip phones. There's a movement to find old iPods that don't connect to the internet. Like there's people who are like going back to get old Walkmans. Like,
I think that's like deciding you're going to be Amish in the 21st century and think you're going to get ahead that way.
I'm really wondering how far that's going to go. Yeah. I don't know. Are we going to see society splinter like into the technos and the non-technos, or the technos, the semi-technos and the not? Like, I think, I don't, there's some really interesting stuff there.
This is a paradigm shift that's happening faster than most.
So fast.
But it's still just a paradigm shift, and society will adapt. In my opinion, I mean,
well, it has to, or else then there's no society. Like, you either end up, here I go hitting things again, but you either, I mean, it's either you have culture as a leg to stand on, or when you get rid of culture, what is the other leg of the stool that holds it up? Like technology, politics, culture, like what are the societal pillars? What holds you up? If you
the pit.
The pit. Yeah. I don't know. I have
Fallout. Silo.
All right. Do you try to talk to do you shout at the virtual things that you're supposed to hit buttons on in public now? Like the interfaces that we have where we don't talk to people anymore. You go to like McDonald's or Taco Bell and it's like, hit the buttons to order things. You don't actually talk to a human being anymore. Do you talk like, I actually am the weirdo. I talk out loud all the time.
So for me, it's yes and no. It's whichever one's faster and more convenient. And I really don't care. That's what I care about, is which is faster and more convenient. If there's a bunch of people standing there at the ordering kiosks at McDonald's, and there's 2 or 3 people waiting at each one, and they're all, the interface is terrible. That interface is terrible, by the way. But if there's a clerk standing there at the cash register, I'm going to walk right up to that clerk and order then and there. And if it's the other way around, I'm happy to use the kiosk. And often I sit in my car and use the app, because you get free hamburgers when you use the app. Yeah, so I guess I'm at the point where I will treat that stuff like I would treat any other person. I'll either go to that person or another one, if even though that's not a person, depending on the circumstances. Are they the easiest way to get what I want or not?
I like people. I will go to the kiosks if that is the only option, or if there's a long line similarly, but I like people. I get mad at having to talk to fake operator systems, but because you're not talking to them, you have to hit a button or whatever.
That sucks. but the reason those suck is because the reason, like the phone tree things, hit one, and the reason those suck is not because it's AI, and I don't even think any of those actually are AI.
No, they're not. They're
Or it
just
is a
trees.
person.
Yeah.
It's because they're so damn slow and the options they offer are all wrong. They're just terribly implemented. That's why they suck. If they were super well implemented, that's another matter.
Right.
If it was a quick AI voice that answers the phone and instantly says, "Tell me what you want to do."
Tell me everything.
Yeah, my name is Brian Dunning and I have a doctor's appointment. This is my insurance and can I do this? And it goes, yes or no, done. That'd be fantastic. And I would gladly choose that over going into a phone queue and waiting 30 minutes to talk to a human. If it actually worked. If
phone queues and phone trees, just no thank you. Yeah. I don't want any of them.
It's almost never as good as what the person can do for you now.
No. Unfortunately, the fact that we are talking or not talking to more people, we are losing words every year.
Yeah, I can see that.
A study at Association for Psychological Science out this month, researchers reported that because this is over a review of participants from 10 years old to 94 years old, part of 22 studies over the span of 14 years, mostly in the US, but also Mexico, Australia, and Europe. There is an average number of spoken words every day, 12,792, and this is significantly lower than the last estimate in 2007, which was about 15,959. They verified it was not a mathematical error and have confirmed that people's daily spoken words are decreasing. We are speaking. We are speaking cool. Less.
Okay, this is super cool, and the reason
338 words a day.
So, which is like a first in human history, which means we've crested a peak.
Sliding down.
Is it glottochronology?
Oh, that's cool. I don't know.
Would
be glotto.
Not grotto, glotto.
Yeah,
and that could be wrong too. I think it's glottochronology. Glottochronological studies use a language, the current state of a language, to determine how old that language is and when it split from another language. And you can use these kinds of studies to find out, like, you go to Borneo or something and there's these uncontacted tribes. Yep. And you can find out when they last split from this other tribe by the word usage and the changes in the language. And that's a way that you can use those differences to calculate the time. So we're now at a point where glottochronology is going to start working in reverse. If what you say is true, if what the study says.
Which is the question, right? And so that's what we already know that there are differences in the number of words that people know based on their level of education, based on,
oh my God,
so many aspects of, it's basically, but it was like something like most American US American speakers have something like 20,000 words that they know. But they don't use that many words on average. And so like and depending on how educated you are, more words or less words, but it's really words like if, then, but that we all agree upon.
You said if, then. I go, if, then, go, sub, return. It's like the second language I learned, which was basic.
Yes. Coding.
That's really cool. If there was a way to plug a thing into your brain so you didn't have to take a big, long, boring test and find out how many words you know and how many words you use.
I think that would be so fun.
I wouldn't want to do that because I'm afraid that my score would be really low.
I don't think it would.
Well, when I'm writing these episodes every week, so I'm doing.
You read scientific. You read scientific
Yeah, but that doesn't
languages
mean I
and
talk that way or I use, well, okay, I do. But
you do. That's
I
what
get
I'm like, yeah,
criticized for
you
that
do.
a lot. But when I'm writing, it's like, oh my God, these are the same 6 words I use in every freaking sentence. How do I? And I got to go to a thesaurus website or something to find, what's a synonym for about?
But you know the word when you see it. It's not like you didn't know it ahead of time. You just weren't thinking of it for writing.
Yeah, there's a huge number of words that I know that I would never use.
Right. Yeah. Same.
Okay.
There's also code switching, which is you have words that you use in one situation that you would not use in another, that you use only around certain people. So
Yes,
when you're
my
hanging out
my
with your
2 kids are the
haughty
only people that I
BBC
can use any
friends,
word.
you can say crumpets, and it's fine. It's totally good.
Crumpets. I don't say crumpets to anyone.
Now
I
I
don't even know
know.
what a crumpet is.
Now I know. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here tonight, Brian, and saying all sorts of words with me.
I said glottochronology. That's a good
You
word.
did. I mean, you brought a whole new word that people were not thinking about.
And I think I have it wrong, as I said.
We're going to have to
I
look
think
it up. We'll put it in the
Yeah.
chat.
I know the
We'll
last
see it.
episode I used this in too.
Yeah. David Hunt is asking whether there's a connection to a drop in reading, and that I do not know. And I think that's something
Ooh.
that, especially since they were specifically looking at spoken language, like when you say words out loud in any situation versus what you're taking in. And I do think that there is, and as you were saying, Brian, like if you haven't used certain words in your writing before, it makes it hard to come up with them for your writing. But the more you use them, like his quote here, good reading leads to good writing. So the more you read, the more you're able to use words in writing. But yeah, I mean, that's a big question. How does not speaking words impact the overall use of words and the evolution of our language over time? Because speaking tends to like evolve it one way, but text and other writing evolves it a different direction. I mean, I cannot say smiley face emoji. You know what I mean when I say it, but yeah.
Oh, crap.
What?
Well, I was going to go to my website, to the Skeptoid website, and look up what
It's not
episode I
working.
last talked about glottochronology, and I just got a notification that the web server is down. So
Oh no!
I got to like ping our
Go
guy and
fix
say,
that.
"Hey,
Oh
dude,
my
what?"
gosh. Yes. That's not
Shit.
something you want to see at 10 o'clock at night.
No.
Oh no. Oh, websites. Oh, websites. Oh, that you could be easier to maintain. It would be wonderful. But Brian, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we go home?
Yeah, I mean,
You're like, I could keep going.
As you can tell, pretty much.
Oh, you're hilarious. I love it. I brought all the stories tonight, but
yeah, I know. I apologize. I was not very much help as a co-host.
What?
Because
It was amazing.
You texted me like an hour ago and said, "Hey, can you do this tonight?" And I'm like, "No, I'm super busy." But you said, "Please." And I go, "God damn it, okay."
Yeah. God,
So
that was
as long as I don't have to
your
do any work,
answer.
you had to do all the work.
But you brought your questions and your thoughts and your experience, which is exactly why I asked you.
Okay,
So
perfect.
thank you for being here. It's fantastic. Everyone, I think we're going to say goodnight for the night. I think it's time. Are we done? We're done. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, Brian's like, are we
you
done?
asking me?
No. I'm like,
mean,
are we
I
done?
guess there's no one else here to give you a quick reply. Yeah.
Yeah, we're done for the night. Thank you, Paul Disney.
Thank you, Paul.
I had a lot of fun. I hope that Brian didn't think it was a total chore. Oh my gosh. But
No,
everyone,
sure. God, no, you gave me no homework. You gave me nothing to prep for, so this is super easy.
it was just be here and talk about stuff with me. That's all I thank you.
Glottochronology is the correct word, by the way. I just found that.
And I am adding a new word to my thesaurus.
It is the science of how languages change over time, allowing us to work in reverse and determine how old languages split from each other and all kinds of cool stuff. It's
Love this stuff.
amazing how many
But we're
different
losing languages around the world all the time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
wild.
that's a thing. That's a
Yeah.
thing for sure. And it's an interesting philosophical argument to say, so what? That means we're able to be more communicative with each other. I mean, and yeah, logically you can look at it that way. I mean, and this is a logical argument. It's not, but that does not
It's
sit
not the
well
cultural
emotionally
argument.
with
It's
any
not
of
an
us.
yep,
None of us want
exactly.
that to be the case. We all love, well, I shouldn't say we all, but many of us love the fact that our various societies are so different and have,
Yes.
I mean, oh my God. You know, you can go to sub-Saharan Africa and you can go to northern Canada and you can hang out with people who live in a traditional way, and there could not possibly be two more different ways for humans to live. And for another extreme corner of the triangle, you can go to what are the plains in Siberia where the nomadic people raise goats and stuff?
Siberia.
Mongolia. The Mongols.
Mongolia. Is that
Yeah.
in Siberia?
No, it's not.
It's not. It's China. But anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
But to go from place to place and to be able to visit those places and actually find ways to communicate with people who have completely different ways of thinking. And we know that language is inherently connected to our thought processes, to the metaphors that we use, to the way that we exist in the world. To be able to go from place to place to place and connect the dots of existence, of human existence. Like what a like that diversity is what makes humanity so amazing. And if we lose that, I think we lose a core of who we are, the way that we experience stuff.
I mean, you should cut me off now. You should disconnect me because
Did I
will
just
go
get
off
into like one of your
for an hour because some of the favorite episodes I've done have
yeah.
been cases where I've needed to go out to native language groups for some
Yeah.
incredibly obscure language and say, what does this really say?
How are
And you
yeah,
find
what
out
do
that
you
it doesn't say anything remotely like what you know, the Bigfoot people say.
have been
Or
bringing it back and saying this is what they say what it means. Yeah.
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 It's wonderful. I just love that happening. I've really valued those interactions. And you know, I always feel like I learned a lot and certainly added a square to the quilt of, you know, my cultural contacts, which is a very cool thing.
It is. I mean, the more that we are able to each of us connect with people that are different from who we are in a way that's actually communicative and valuable, like the ripple effects of that cannot be understated.
Let me throw
I think it's
out
better
one
for all of
example.
us. So, hey,
I can say one
keep
example.
going.
One example, one tiny example. Mongolian is
Mhm.
an Asian
Yes,
language
the
family,
steps. Yes.
and it's written in Cyrillic.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So as a
Really?
result, there is almost no Mongolian literature that has been translated into other languages.
I didn't know it was a Cyrillic-based
It's
language.
written in
Really?
Cyrillic, yeah. So
Hmm.
it's like
Okay.
this incredibly bastardized half and half of
Mhm.
Slavic and Asian.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it's
because it is like at that interface, right?
yeah.
It's these different peoples coming together and creating something together.
So
That
that's provided an opportunity for people to say, this Mongolian book says this, when in fact
huh.
that's completely false. They just made the hell up whatever they wanted it to say because nobody can double check them on it because it's essentially not translatable.
That's amazing. I've never heard that before.
I
That's
love that little
amazing.
example. Yeah. Okay.
But this is the stuff
could
that
go
we
on.
need. Like, this is like, I keep running across like the in science communication, like we're talking more and more about the not just being a helicopter in kind of researcher, not being somebody who just comes in and asks a question and leaves, right? But like somebody who actually gets to know a community, becomes part of a community if they can, or finds ways to be to become trusted and gain, like really earn that trust as they take any information or any learnings out, right? To to share it with anybody. And it's stuff like that it's that is exactly the point of community, of civic science, of community building, of going in and not just being a colonialist, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I hear you there. Yeah, for sure.
You want to make your movies and stuff, but the best stories are going to come from really talking to people. Thank you for doing that, Brian. That's cool.
It is. I mean, I say, oh, it's my pleasure. It totally is. I mean, I'm so lucky to get to do this for a living. It's just wild and wacky.
I'm coming next time. I'm going to help.
Mongolia?
I want to help. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Awesome. It's done. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here for another episode of This Week in Science.
Yeah.
Just love that you've been here for the show and all your comments throughout. Thank you so much for chatting, talking to Brian, having conversations. Super appreciate it. Fada, thank you so much for all your help with social media, show notes, and everything. And like, honestly, last week was a mix-up. I was on the tarmac in DC. I thought Blair knew that I was not going to be in town to do the show, and then she was sick, and the show didn't happen, and I'm so sorry, everybody. I couldn't do it because I was also watching the Artemis launch from the tarmac in DC, so that was like a priority. Everyone here in the chat room, you make everything so special here. Thank you for being here, for everything,
I had
and
a
the
lot
way
of
that you
fun,
interact.
and I'm so glad you guys were all here. I was reading all your comments. I know I got to reply to very few of them, but this is a lot of fun for me. So I thank you all for welcoming me and letting me do this.
Thank you for welcoming
Especially
Brian,
you too,
everyone.
Kiki.
Oh, thanks. No, so good to have you here. Gord, Lore, everyone, thank you so much. Rachel, thank you for editing the show, and Identity 4, thank you for recording the show so that we have a show for the podcast to be edited. Yes. And everyone, thank you for all your support on Patreon. I am going to do the rundown of the names now. Brian, are you ready?
Yeah, let me just click exit here and then I'm ready.
Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Aaron Anathema, Adam Mishkun, Alan Viola, Ali Confid, Andrew Swanson, Artem, Arthur Coupler, Bob Cobb Calder, Bob Coles, Brendan Minish, Byron Carrington, Chris Wozniak, Christopher Dreyer, Christopher Rappin, Craig Landon, Greg Potts, Daryl Myshak, Dave Wilkinson, David E. Youngblood, Don Munnis, E.O., Eden Mundell, Eric Depp, Flanning Out, Fridays 104, G. Burton, Lattimore, Greg Briggs, Jack, Jason Olds, John Atwood, John McKee, John Ratnasamy, Johnny Gridley, Ken Hayes, Kent Northhote, Kevin Parachan, Kevin Ridden, Kurt Larson, Lon Makes, Lauren Gifford, Marjorie Gertz, Mark Hessenflow, Mark Jenkins, Noodles, Patrick Pecoraro, Paul D. Disney, Paul Runovich, Philip Shane, Pierre Velazar, Richard Badge, Robert Lordan, Robert Farley, Rodney Lewis, Rudy Garcia, Remy Day, Sean Clarence Lamb, Shoe Bruce, Stephen Alberon, Steve Leisman, aka Seamus, Sue Dostern, I hit that thing again, Teresa Smith, Tony Steele, and Vegard Shefstad. Thank you for all your support on Patreon. It's you and others like you who keep the show going. Thank you for all your support. If you would like to become a Patreon sponsor, please head over to TWIS.org and click on the Patreon link. And on next week's show, we'll be back again at 8 p.m. Pacific time-ish, broadcasting live from our Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube channels. And if you want to listen to us as a podcast, search for This Week in Science wherever podcasts are found. If you enjoyed the show, get your friends to subscribe as well. For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes and links and stories are going to be available on our website, TWIS.org. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which I might actually send one day. It'll be a huge surprise. Just wait. Oh, yeah. And we love your feedback. If there's a topic that you would like us to cover or address, please send us an email or get to know us on social media and message us there. Whatever. You got to tell us what you want to hear from us. Just if you're emailing, put TWIS in the subject line, because if you don't, it might end up just missing that gravity assist around the moon and not coming back like Artemis. Okay? So just put TWIS in that subject line. You gotta be sure of that. Don't
Nice
get spam
Artemis
filtered.
tie-in, wrapping the show full circle. Well done.
I try. I really do. We all look forward to discussing science with you again next week. Brian, would you say the last line here?
Yeah, let me pull up my
If
script.
you've learned
Whatever
anything.
browser window I left that in. Okay.
I highlighted something.
I know. This close. Let's see. Everything is scripted for either Justin or Blair.
Yeah, it's Justin. Oh, it went away. And if you've learned anything from the show,
and if you've learned any, where's it say that?
At the very end. It's like Justin's last line.
It's all in your head.
No, it's my last line. But you can you say Justin. Here, I'll say Justin's line and you say my line. I think that would be great.
Okay.
Okay. And you've learned anything from the show, remember.
It's all in your head. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll up and down this list.
This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method.
Look at you. Look at you dancing.
Are we still on?
We are, but it's the end of the show. This is the after show. That was it. That was the end. And we're going to say goodnight to everybody now.
Good night, everybody.
Perfecto, said one by land. I think they liked it. The ending was good. That was positive. Thank you, everybody.
Lots of fun.
Brian, thank you very much. Everyone, thank you very much. I'm going to hit the end stream now because it's late. And we all need to get our sleep, apparently.
Do I need to do anything like stop and have it upload anything?
No, you don't have to do anything. I'm going to hit a button right now.
Perfect.
So say good night, Kiki.
Good night, Kiki.
Good night, Brian. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay curious, and stay lucky.